see, we're here, Henry. It's championship week. Enough messing around. We made it through.
Are we sure? Can we still just mess around a little?
Your call of the year.
Yeah.
Right when we needed you most. You
That's what I
came
do.
through for all of us. DraftKings Sportsbook, presenting sponsor of this podcast of ours, stream if you're watching live, what have you, is also coming through in the clutch for us during the holidays right now. Nothing but mega deals for you left and right. NBA season opening, free money on that. You've got, if you're a DNVR member, free money at DraftKings on that as well. So check them out. Check us out. Let's get into it, Hank, because a lot went down this week, as you'd imagine. And yeah, as I alluded to, you had the call of calls. And so we're going to start with our winner's lap. You're usually a very modest man, but I want you to take a real... This isn't just a winner's lap. This is an old school Will Ferrell. We're going to go streaking, down the quad.
I'm down to go streaking after this. For so many reasons.
On this call, the number one player in all of fantasy, I think you should tell the people what you did this week and why you just upped your status to legend.
Because I said to start Jalen Hurts. Everybody has been saying terrible things about Jalen Hurts. Everybody's been talking trash about the Eagles receivers, the Eagles offensive line.
Yep.
Carson Wentz was the problem. Jalen Hurts is a winner. He's been a winner forever. He's the man now, and he's somebody you got to start. I was a little bit lukewarm on Jalen Hurts last week on the podcast, but by the time Sunday hit and we were on the tailgate, I knew you had to start Jalen Hurts. Going up against that Cardinals defense, they just give up so many points to quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks who run. It does feel good, though. And I don't really like... I don't know.
That game started off, I almost thought it was a bad call by you.
Yeah, there was a second there.
I'm glad I didn't pick him up off my waiver wire and start him over Tannehill. And then I was like, whoo,
he went off. He went off. Like you said, top fantasy performer. But more than I like being right, I just like watching Jalen Hurts. Like, he's been one of my favorite football players to watch. I think he was my favorite football player to watch for the college football season last year. Now he's doing it in the NFL. The takeaway here isn't so much I was right as much as it's just like Jalen Hurts is here, and I am so excited about it.
That was really something else. And yeah, it's been a weird flip. How, I love to really pound the table on football in September isn't real football, especially this year. And it's been weird how, obviously that's been proven true, but really the few defenses that were playing well in September, the Cards and Colts, kind of coming apart here towards the end of the year. No longer a situation where you need to really force that hand. Outside of your outstanding Jalen Hurts call, anything else to talk about on the winner's lap, Hank?
I think that was the big one.
That was the big one.
I also, let's see. Let me just double check.
I love him.
Plenty of losers laps on the way.
Oh,
I said
nice.
Bench Ezekiel Elliott, and he didn't play. Baker Mayfield was quarterback 12. I said bench him. That's not bad. That's right on the edge, especially because he was putting up numbers before. I'll take a little credit there.
That was a good call on the G-Men. Yep.
Tyler Boyd, I had him as a sit. He did not catch a pass.
Got hurt. So there you go.
He did get hurt for a bit. For most of it.
Your number one start. Excellent. Your sits. Good advice as well.
Yep.
Good for you, Hank. Love it. Really rounding in to championship form right when it mattered most in the big rounds here. I'll take a winner's lap on Brandon Ayuk. He had an outstanding game. One of the top wide receivers in PPR this week. That is sixth. Behind only Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Marvin Jones, Stephon Diggs, and Zach Pascal. No one had that one. But still, Brandon Ayuk coming through despite the Niners really getting killed by the Dallas Cowboys, but he was one of my starts. J.K. Dobbins, not an incredible call, but 20th running back in PPR, and Dobbins isn't a PPR monster. He's definitely more valuable in your more standard formats. he had a big he had a good enough week to justify that, whether he was your flex or your running back too. And sit Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Might have been my call of the week. Second most productive running back on Kansas City. 34th running back in full PPR. My, how the mighty have fallen. Talk about a September mirage like the Colts and Cardinals defenses. That Clyde Edwards-Helaire season opener looking further and further removed from where we're at right now with that Kansas City backfield. So those were definitely my best calls of the week. But as always, you don't have to tell us twice to be self-deprecating. We will eat crow all day of the week. We love to say, I was wrong, my bad. So go ahead, Henry. What were you wrong on? What was your bad?
I was wrong about Cam Akers. I'll start there. I had him as a start. He did get hurt injury. There for a stretch, but he still had 15 carries, only put up 60-something yards, didn't get a touchdown, 1 catch. So, I mean, I expected about that many opportunities, and the production wasn't there. He did get hurt, though. Otherwise, there would have been more opportunities, and maybe he would have scored, and I would have been wrong about how many, But yeah. I gave bad advice. Also, Juju Smith-Schuster, who I believe was like wide receiver 91 or 101 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are, I'm a little bit shocked by what happened last night in that football game.
Well, not to mention the Jets game.
And the Jets game, too.
Those were massive spreads, and you were kind of on the safe side with Juju and Cam Akers, seemingly.
You would have thought.
Yeah, not so much.
No, turns out. So I will eat some crow there.
That's it, huh? Wow, good for you. I've got a bit of a more hefty plate here. Mike Evans, bad call to sit. Now, not a ton of touches, but against Detroit's beat-up defensive backs, he got his touchdown, so he definitely makes me eat some crow there. Deontay Johnson, you talked about Juju Smith. We clearly are just not on the same page. Our mics are on the same page, not on the same page with these Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers, just not making it happen. Johnson, one of the few bright spots for Pittsburgh in that, as you said, very surprising game against the Bengals last night. And Evan Ingram really thought that the Browns defense that has been so crummy could be feasted on. Not so. The Giants could really not do much offensively. So I must eat crow on that one. So that's unfortunate, but what can you do? Happens.
It does happen.
Yeah. All right, Hank, I think we are going to jump into Would You Rather, and we are starting with some important dilemmas for championship week. Brought to you by my team, brought to you by Justin Michael's team, who's in a 2QB league where he's been killing it. And, Kale, you get any questions coming, you let us know on that end as well. So we're going to start with me, Hank, where I guess my first question is, I've got the Chargers defense against the Broncos, which, look, you could have worse options than that. But I wonder, is it worth it for me to pick up a streaming option like the Texans against the Bengals?
I like that better. I do like that better. I know that the Texans defense isn't all that good, but you do think that J.J. Watt should get you at least 1 sack in that game on top of them not giving up many points because the Bengals just don't score many points.
Despite what we just saw. Okay.
Brian Finley missed so many passes. So it was rough.
Would you rather the Texans, the Cardinals against San Francisco's offense?
See, that's tough. I mean, it's a similar situation where it's not a defense I like, although I do like it better than the Texans.
Yeah.
I just don't like the matchup quite as much, although I do like the matchup.
Do you like the Buccaneers against the Lions better? Or the Bills against the Patriots?
Bills, Patriots, I like. I think the Buccaneers give you maybe more upside than the rest of them. There's some upside whenever you play the Patriots.
Maybe best of all, football team versus the Panthers. Or Panthers versus the football team.
Christian McCaffrey, what's his status?
I don't know, but the football team's playing really
ever?
well. I mean, I think they're kind of just...
Yeah. I think that's tempting. I do think that it was the Buccaneers that play the Lions.
Yeah.
That's tempting. That is really tempting because that actually is a good defense, and you won't feel as bad if they give up a bunch of points. But even they haven't been playing all that well. What was the other one I liked? I can't remember.
Texans against the Bengals. You like the Cardinals against the Niners, and you like football team against the Panthers.
I really think that these are all
Eagles against the Cowboys.
Pretty even.
There's actually some great matchups.
Yeah.
Some great streaming options.
Eagles against the Cowboys. Like they're all just on the same in terms of like value, I don't see much of a difference. It's just whether you want to get whether you feel more comfortable with a good defense that's playing a little bit better offense or a bad defense that's going against a much worse offense.
I'm really tempted by football team against the Panthers. Really tempted.
Yeah, I mean they made some plays. Let me see what they've been putting up.
I mean, they had that monster game 2 weeks ago in the upset of the Steelers. And then, I mean, last week played fairly well against the Seahawks. I mean, really held them to a pretty low scoring. In this league, they had, they had 21 points against the Cowboys, 11 points against the Steelers, 28 against the 49ers, 7 against Seattle. But really, I mean, a double-digit tear until facing the Seahawks, who they still held to 7 points.
Yeah, and over the last 3 weeks, Washington is the 8th best defense of the teams you mentioned. Only the Cardinals are in front of them, and that's by 0.3 points per game. So I think you're probably onto something with Washington.
Okay, what about my quarterback situation? Tannehill against Green Bay or Baker Mayfield against the Jets? Man.
Ooh.
Dude, I tell you, Mayfield's really heating up, but that Jets front?
Oh, yeah.
Scary, as you found out with your Cam Akers pick this week.
And coming off a win, I think, is what swings things towards Tannehill, because I mean, both great options. And then the last 3 weeks, Tannehill's quarterback 3, Baker's quarterback 4, despite having a pretty rough performance last week.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets defense, just by reputation, I feel like you should take Baker against them, especially because, the downside for Baker is that the running game is so good and they can get plenty of production. But I think the running game is going to be what's more impacted by the defensive line of the Jets and not so much the passing game.
Interesting point. You're not wrong.
So we got one question here.
And we've got some questions here. Okay.
Start Lamar instead of Kyler.
This week. Okay. Let's get into those matchups, Hank.
I'd go Baker because Tannehill on the road at Lambeau, it just scares me a little bit.
That feels like such a shootout, though. What about this question we just got? The Kyler this week or Lamar this week?
I mean, Lamar had a bit of a down week. I mean, he was quarterback 5, but before that, he'd back-to-back weeks. I believe he was the number 1 quarterback. If not, he was right up there.
He's been killing it. He's been massacring these big spreads. That's exactly what we said was going to happen. And now he takes on the Giants, who, right, like we just saw with the Browns, can keep you a little low scoring.
Meanwhile,
on the other hand, you have a Saturday where Kyler, who's back to running the ball, which is really comforting, is taking on the Niners.
Yeah. I think that both are good options this week. I do. I will say that I trust Lamar just a little bit more at this point after what we've seen from Kyler. I know that the Giants defense it's progressively gotten better all season. I mean, that it wasn't a great group at the start, but it just seems like week after week, they just keep getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. They've been formidable for a while, and now maybe they are actually just like a good defense. But I still think that Lamar is enough better than Kyler that I'd feel more comfortable doing that. Because, I mean, running through Kyler's last few weeks, 34 last week. Before that, 18, 17, 8.9. But before that, 20, 30, 37, 38, 28. And so he is a bit removed from when he was so hot. Meanwhile, Lamar is finally turning it on.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Lamar owner and you waited this long, well, what were you waiting for? I mean, if it isn't a 3-week stretch where you go 26, 34, 30. Like, he's just hot, and I think you got to ride him.
He's running in touchdowns, and that's like, you might have a good run defense, which the Giants do because of their defensive line and tackles. But Lamar is stressing those linebackers so much with those RPO style runs. I'm going Lamar, Max. Let's go Lamar, man.
I'm going to go Lamar, too.
It's a classic, like, let's ride the horses that brought us here.
And that's been something we've been saying. I think now's the time to do it. It does kind of scare me that Kyler's putting up the more passing yards.
Yeah, for sure,
But,
man.
I mean, that's not as valuable. And Lamar gives you plenty of upside, however you want to look at it.
Yeah. No, you're right. Okay, so we've gone through my defensive stream options. We've gone through my quarterback conundrum. I think my flex and running backs, I have to start who I have to start. My real only last question, Hank, going into championship week, is I feel pretty certain I'm starting Justin Jefferson against the Saints. But for my wide receiver 2 spot, do I start Allen Robinson with the resurgent Mitchell Trubisky going against the Jacksonville Jaguars, the new Tank City, USA, because they're now in pole position for Trevor Lawrence? Or do I go with Brandon Ayuk against those aforementioned pesky Arizona Cardinals?
I really like what Brandon Ayuk's
swing
been
this
doing.
league.
Brandon Ayuk has just been so good. And Allen Robinson's been good too. 10 points this week, 23 the week before, 10 the week before that, 23 before that. I mean,
He's been rock solid.
there's a little trend there.
Yeah.
Maybe this is another up week for him at Jacksonville. Like, it's certainly a good matchup. Let me just see what Ayuk's numbers look like here.
I mean, Ayuk is killing it. It just feels a little more feast or famine than what I get out of Robinson.
In his last 5 games, though, these are all half-point PPR numbers, all of them. Last 5 games, six games. Let's go back 6 games. 17.8, 16.9, 18, 16.2, 19.1, 14.5. He is consistently putting up numbers. I don't know. I don't know where I stand on the Bears offense right now.
I know.
Arizona's tougher, though.
And I almost feel bad. I almost feel like to some extent we've been like underrating Allen Robinson all year because he's doing some big things, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. It feels like we haven't talked about him all that much.
He's been productive. He's coming along as of late. But you're right, like on a per game basis, it's really hard to argue with what Ayuk's got going on.
Yeah. 3, 4.
Yeah, I mean, on a per game basis, Justin Jefferson, 17 points per game. Allen Robinson, 16.9. Brandon Ayuk, 16.4.
Oh, wow.
They're neck and neck and neck.
In the half-point PPR, that must have been full point.
Yeah.
Half-point, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, both with 13.7 per game. And really, it's been Allen Robinson who's been more up and down. And the other thing is, and I think this is what probably swings that argument, is that Brandon Ayuk has consistently produced more and more as the season's gone along. I mean, let's look at what a couple of these first scores were. First game, 2.1.
No, he's getting acclimated. He's getting familiar with Nick Mullins. I mean, he started the season injured. These rookies, we know, we're starting behind the 8 ball in a year like this. I mean, it's all trending in the right direction.
Yep. I do think it's Ayuk. Ayuk's just so good.
Oh,
the only argument is, do you get scared of Patrick Peterson being on him, something like that?
No.
And I agree.
I don't think I care. It's the beauty of that Shanahan offense is they just they scheme guys open, and a guy like him is really striving in those situations because he's a yak machine. Yeah, I mean, you knew that. You were covering him in the Pac-12. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. And that's his calling card. He's a yak machine. He's proving it at the NFL level. It's been really impressive.
He's gotten double-digit targets in 4 of the last 5 weeks, including 16 targets in a game where they only scored 15 points.
Now, I know listeners at home are saying, well, Dre, you have such good wide receivers. Why aren't we talking about starting all three, one of them in the flex? Well, this is a per carry league. And while
Point
Zeke,
per carry.
While Zeke is hurt, David Montgomery, Miles Sanders, and sadly Kenyon Drake, but merely because he gets the carries. I hate it, but he gets the carries. I would definitely be starting one of these wide receivers if it wasn't a point per carry league. But because it's a point per carry league, I have to start Kenyon Drake. We're going to get in the buy or sell. We're going to talk about some of my options on the waiver wire at running back to where I could supplant Kenyon Drake. Let's get into our guy, Justin Michaels, conundrums for his championship week. We have people going crazy about a dog being in the office right here, so everyone's going nuts.
Chase him this way.
So that's why you're hearing a bit background. So
I'm focused. I'm locked in, though.
Justin's done some big things for his league. He also has Ayuk. He's really looking sharp.
It's a bulldog.
It is a bulldog. So one thing is we've got there's a little Frenchie right there.
Right behind the fantasy logo.
Wow. So I would like to know what Millhouse wants.
Oh, what a great name.
So Justin's starting the Rams defense. They go against the Seahawks. I would first and foremost advise waiver wire streaming defense. Look into the Washington football team. Look into the Buccaneers. I'll be doing this show by myself from here on.
No, I'm locked in.
Look into the Philadelphia Eagles. Those are all nice matchups. Next, I think he's got a bit of a conundrum at wide receiver. Well, really in his flex. So he's got Thielen, Hopkins, Ayuk. Thielen going against the Saints. I would start Ayuk over Thielen.
I was just pulling up Thielen's stats to make sure I wasn't missing something, but yeah, me too.
And let's see if you're with me. I would start Kareem Hunt over Thielen in that flex spot. He also has options like T.Y. Hilton and Rashard Higgins there on top of Thielen. I mean, again, C.D. Lamb as well, Chase Claypool. Justin did real well for himself. Thoughts, Henry, in this flex? Would you rather Kareem Hunt, Thielen, T.Y. Hilton, Higgins? I think Hilton with that Pittsburgh matchup probably out. Higgins, the Jets matchup, intriguing. We talked about it with Baker. Hunt, he's that receiving back, so while the Jets front is intimidating, I don't treat him like a running back. I treat him like a receiving back.
Yeah. I mean, let's start with Thielen. So Thielen coming off in half-point PPR, 8 points and 5 points.
Yeah.
Back-to-back down weeks.
Not great, Bubba.
The tough part is that before that was 17.5, 28.3, 18.3. Before that, two more single-digit weeks. Two more sub-5-point weeks.
No, that's why I think it's been Max in the comments asking us, can he trust Thielen in his leagues?
I still don't.
Yeah.
Especially against New Orleans. That's a good defense.
No, lights out defense, Hank. Lights out. They're phenomenal.
I don't think it's Thielen.
Okay. I'm with you. We're on the same page.
So,
I don't think it's Hilton either against the Steelers.
Against the Steelers, probably not. Although, I mean, guys were open yesterday. How many passes did Finley miss? It was just over and over and over.
Yeah.
And they still won.
Is that because they were selling out to stop the run, though? I mean, they have had trouble in their secondary. It is true. I have seen a lot of Steelers fans complaining about it. You see it when you watch the tape. You know, outside of, I mean, we saw it in the primetime game against the Bills. They really couldn't cover anyone.
Yeah. And
so
just to add context, you know, he started the season with 9 straight single-digit games.
Hilton. Oh, yeah, I know.
Then 16, 21, 23, back to single digits this week. And
he's been on fire. Zach Pascal's big week kind of messed that up, but they put a ton of points up against the Tech. I mean, the Colts are a different team from who they were at the start of the season.
Yeah. I do think it's Kareem Hunt that fits in there. I can't justify anybody else. I'm assuming this is PPR, and I'm still taking the running back.
I am too, and I'm still taking the running back. Only final question, Logan Thomas against the Panthers at tight end or Dallas Goedert against the Cowboys? Yeah.
I mean, tight ends, you're just gambling. And
You
I think
are.
it's important to say that every time we talk about
Yeah,
them.
you're big on that. You're big on that. Aside from Waller and Kelsey, of course.
Yep. I mean,
He hates it. He hates it, folks.
making me pick tight ends. What are we doing here?
Yeah. It's a championship week. Everything matters.
I want to say it's Goddard, but he hasn't really put up any numbers since Jalen Hurts has taken over.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not doing
there's
it for
nothing
him.
that makes you think, oh, this is going to get him going because we haven't seen it.
Justin knows. I mean, and look, Logan Thomas coming off a 100 receiving yard game.
Yep, it's got to be Logan Thomas.
Yeah, it's Logan Thomas.
As much as I like Jalen Hurts.
Beautiful. That was your championship edition of Would You Rather, taking care of our family and our championship dilemmas. Before we continue with more Would You Rather, some buy or sell, some waiver wire conundrums, I know you have a special holiday shout out you need to make, Henry. So I leave the floor to you.
It feels like just yesterday.
No.
Well,
No,
no.
it
I
doesn't.
know because I just recorded the
Doesn't.
Buffs podcast.
That's right.
It feels like just yesterday plus a week, though, doesn't it?
Not so sure.
The 2021 basketball season is here. The teams
Okay.
around the league took the offseason to retool and revamp and are ready to hit the court.
You know it.
DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app,
yeah.
has rolled out another one of their can't-miss offers. Trying DraftKings Sportsbook is easy, so what are you waiting for? Get in on all of the action now. To celebrate the return of basketball, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new players 100-1 odds on any featured matchup this week. That's right. All you have to do is bet $1 on any featured matchup this week, and if your team wins, you cash a crisp $100.
Right.
While we are all excited for the return of basketball, let's not forget football's playoffs are right around the corner, so head to the app now to check out all of the DraftKings daily odds boosts. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Plus, if you're a DNVR member, make sure you take advantage of your free $5 bet the DraftKings is giving you.
Or become a member. I mean, we're paying
yeah.
you to become a member. Just do it.
Yep. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this. To get 100-1 odds on any featured matchup this week. That's code DNVR for new players to get a shot at $100 on any featured matchup this week for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Bravo, my friend. Bravo. Well done. Okay. Kale, keep it coming with the questions.
Just a couple more from Max that we should hit real quick.
Yeah, beautiful.
Should I be worried about Chris Carson and James Robinson at running back? I have J.K. Dobbins on my bench.
Let's see. I still feel good about James Robinson. I'll double check the numbers on that, but
It's been tough, though. It's been tough. It's been tough, Henry.
I think Chris Carson's what kind of scares me because how many carries did Carlos Hyde get last night? That's what I need to be checking.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
now. Because I only heard like the highlights and all that kind of stuff. Not last night. What am I talking about?
Yeah, Sunday. We
Sunday.
get it, Henry. We get it. And the Rams defense, I mean, that one scares you, though. Ty Johnson just kind of ran all over them as well.
Let's see. Yeah, so Carlos Hyde had a 50-yard touchdown carry and only one other carry.
Yeah.
You know, that does not concern me. Chris Carson is still the guy in that backfield. He got 15 carries. He got 17 touches. 15 touches the week before, 16 touches the week before that. It's his job. It's always been his job. The question is the Rams.
Yeah, the question's the Rams, and then the question's James Robinson. I kind of like J.K. Dobbins above both.
I mean, you could convince me.
But a love both doesn't answer Max's question. A love above which answers Max's question. And I feel like...
I mean, James Robinson's numbers have gone down.
Yeah, they have.
10.3 and 12.8.
Yes.
Last 2 weeks. Before that...
I mean, James Robinson has a disastrous week against the Ravens, if not for a receiving touchdown.
True.
Disastrous.
True. It's also the Ravens' defense. And I guess he is going to play Chicago. That's a good defense.
Yeah, bear down Chicago Bears.
But I mean, Chris Carson's playing the Rams.
I know. I know. Hate both those matchups. Frankly. Okay, Henry.
I do think J.K. Dobbins is a play though.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins is the play against the Giants. Another matchup I don't love.
I know. And you look at the numbers. 64 rushing yards, 53 rushing yards, 71 rushing yards, 70. Like, he's gotten touchdowns in all those games, and that's what's gotten him into the mid-teens. He's caught one pass in the last 3 weeks.
Screw it. I'm sticking with the guys that got you here, Max. James Robinson, Chris Carson. We're sticking to it. It's the better choice. Okay. Would you rather, Henry, and better get your injury notebook out here, the 49ers, Steelers, Rams, or Falcons RB1?
Who are they, or would you rather have them?
Which of those would you rather have? Now, Niners, basically Jeff Wilson Jr. Steelers, basically Benny Snell. Rams, basically Darrell Henderson, though Malcolm Brown, always there and extra pesky. Falcons, basically Ito Smith. Falcons are the one I'm most dubious on, as you can tell. Rams, too much of a mess, too. I guess the answer is Jeff Wilson Jr. For me, I could consider Benny Snell, though. You could talk me into that.
Yeah. I mean, let's start with Jeff Wilson. You know, there's stuff to like about him. Double-digit points this week.
Yeah.
Hadn't done that since week 7.
There you go. Love to hear that.
There's just some weird stuff. I mean, like, he only had 60 rushing yards. Week before that, he had 31.
Yeah, I mean, he's not their featured back. He's an emergency choice.
And that scares me. But the upside to me, though, and honestly what confuses me is you look at it, and why hasn't he been scoring more points in PPR leagues? Because he was targeted 4 times this week, didn't catch a ball, 1 for 3 the week before that, 2 for 5 the week before that. It just... What is happening on those? Because you should be completing like 80% of the passes to running backs. And if you had, then yeah, he would have been a decent play. But since then, I mean, he's kind of been bust, except for this week when he put up 12 points. And even that, I mean, the week before he had 8.9 with a touchdown.
So are you saying Benny Snell, or would you rather like roll the dice with Darrell Henderson and hope that the Rams don't ram you and give all the like red zone touches to Malcolm Brown, which they do? The Rams every week, it's whatever running back you start, they'll punish you for it.
Yeah, and you know, there was a nice trend of Cam Akers getting the majority of the touches, and that was still true this week. I do like Cam Akers if he's healthy and playing, and that's a big question mark at this point. Benny Snell looked nice. Does he get the touches again next week? Because
he got such garbage touches in that one too, man. Yeah. Like that rushing offense did not look good.
No.
Their rushing offenses look terrible all year.
Snell had 18 carries for 84 yards. Yeah. It was kind of buoyed by the 29-yarder.
Yep. Love.
But before that, he hadn't hit
by the 29-yarder. Wow, that's how we're talking now. Love that.
He'd only hit 20 yards once since week 1.
Yeah.
Like Benny Snell, if they give him the opportunities they gave him this week, he's probably the play. I just don't think you can risk that when he put up 1 point in each of the 2 previous weeks.
I'm a Jeff Wilson guy. I just got to hope in that offense, basically. I hope no one's in this situation. Yeah. Maybe in a loser's bracket you could be. Would you rather, this is somewhat inspired by my team, but then I extended it. Tannehill, Baker, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert.
Baker, Jalen Hurts.
So we've already said you're on the Baker train over Tannehill.
I think Baker and Tannehill are both very good options.
Would you take Hurts or Herbert over either?
I don't think you can. I don't think so. I will say that I have Hurts ahead of Herbert, just because
Cowboys,
because of who I am as a person.
That's right.
Playing the Cowboys, maybe Hurts does climb up higher. Yep. Maybe Hurts does climb up higher. I do think Herbert's a pretty clear 4 here.
Oh, man.
Although, I mean, the Broncos secondary.
Championship week. Screw it. I think I would go with Hurts. I really think I would.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. What about if you're stuck with more of the veterans that are disappointing or the deep backups? Would you rather Mariota, Tua, Breeze, or Big Ben?
Mariota, Tua, Breeze, Big Ben.
Breeze
Yikes.
and Big Ben look done.
Terrible.
Yeah,
like
they're
done.
Yep.
Like goodbye.
I'm
Nice
with you.
career.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Done. But yeah, Tua, what to make of Tua? I mean,
The only fantasy production he's giving you on these absurd runs, Tua's going to get murdered. They keep running him like that in the red zone, but
is
whatever
true.
works.
They were missing like 3/4 of their.
Yeah,
skill players.
they're missing a lot of their skill players, and that factors into that Dolphins offense really kind of struggling. Really not looking as sharp as you'd expect. Mariota, on the other hand,
looks very nice, and I mean he's the clear number one out of this group to me.
there you go.
I'm very much in on Marcus Mariota, not just like for this week, but as a football player, because I mean I was never really out on him. You know, I'm not sure what the contract situation's like, and this isn't the time or place to talk about this. But if
it's
the
a
Broncos
2-year deal.
if the Broncos want to do like the veteran quarterback route, he is number one on my list of guys I want to bring in to compete with Drew or whatever you want.
Yeah, he's
to call
atop the Tannehill tier.
Yeah.
The next Tannehill, he's the top candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Le'Veon Bell, Kenyon Drake, David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, Wayne Gallman. Which of these would you rather?
I think Le'Veon Bell, that really sticks out to me. Yeah, and you know with Clyde
He's not playing well though.
I know, but with Clyde Edwards-Helaire's injury, I mean, do you think that what percentage of the touches do you think Le'Veon Bell gets this week?
I mean, you're right. It's going to keep increasing.
Yeah.
The play here out of this group's probably Melvin Gordon, probably Lev Bell.
Is Phil hurt?
No, but the touches are what they are, especially in the red zone.
That is true. The red zone touches are there. I mean, the Broncos' running game is something that scares me away, especially with the split backfield.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think Le'Veon Bell is probably my number one. I mean, David Johnson, that's just a gamble who's going to get touches, which I guess is the case for most of these.
Yeah, no, I mean, total.
Wayne Gallman? Some consideration there?
Some consideration, but boy, with Colt McCoy, I mean, the last couple games have been horrendous.
It's true.
I was all aboard the Wayne Gallman train, and now
he just hasn't produced.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think Le'Veon Bell is probably number one. If you're a true Cardinals believer, you could justify Kenyon Drake and from Melvin Gordon, but that probably is how it goes.
Oh, man. All right. Quick, 5-minute edition of Buy or Sell. You guys got any last-second questions? Holler at us. Trying to get you ready for these final championship weeks that will go down right around Christmas time for you. Hank, are you buying or selling what Tony Pollard did last week?
I'll buy.
My goodness.
I'll buy. I mean,
I too am buying.
He's a talented guy. And I think that people have known that. People have,
Yep.
I mean, at least I have pretty consistently thought, I wonder what he would look like if he wasn't behind Ezekiel Elliott, one of the few backfields where the number two back just doesn't get many touches.
Yeah.
4.7 yards per carry this season. No Ezekiel Elliott this week. Had 12 catches. Or 12 carries, sorry. 6 catches, which is also very good, and I'm not sure if that's going to keep up, but worth noting. I do wish that he would have gotten the ball just a little bit more with no Zeke.
Yeah.
But I am buying into what Tony Pollard's doing.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
That was impressive. That was a really nice game. Yeah, I mean, the kid was getting downhill. He looks athletic. He's got a really nice power, a combination of power and burst, long speed, getting downhill. He's a talented kid. I'm definitely buying. What about Ty Johnson, who for the Jets looked really nice against the Los Angeles Rams? That was something else. Your thoughts on Ty Johnson, a guy that we didn't mention on the last podcast as a sneaky little play. And now this is, 19 points, week 13, just 1.6 points. This is full PPR.
It is.
Week 14, 17.5 last week. not a ton of carries, just 3 carries, but the 6 receptions for 39 yards and a touchdown really carried him. He did get 22 carries 2 weeks ago and got 104 yards with the tud. There, going against the Browns' lowly defense, Ty Johnson?
I'm selling. That was probably the fantasy peak of his career. I mean, I guess there was a decent game a couple weeks ago, but nothing against him. But with the Jets offense, Frank Gore still out touched him. Out carried him at least 23 to 3.
Frank Gore is the issue here.
And the thing is, with Ty Johnson, those points were nice. He caught 6 passes, and so 6 points just from catching the ball. And the week before that, when he actually had 8 carries instead of 3, 0 catches, 0 targets. Week before that, when he was the featured back with 22 carries, 2 targets. And so I guess you can look at that and say 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's been a good fantasy running back who you wish you would have started. I see it and say that 1.6 in between them scares me away.
Yeah.
Sell here from Kyle. Buy or sell Lazard on flex. Is he back? I think that
Lazard is probably. He's their number 2 receiver.
You're a Lazard whisperer on staff, so lay it on us.
The thing is, he's a number 2 receiver who hasn't produced wide receiver 2 production. He had 8 points this week, half-point PPR. He has 3 games in double digits. 2 of them were in the first 3 weeks of the season. He did miss a bunch of time with injury, but I don't know.
He just doesn't get a ton of targets. I can't see many scenarios where you would start him or trust him too much. Tennessee, that's going to be a shootout, Hank. I just know it's going to be a shootout.
I'd lean Valdez-Scantling at this point.
There you go. Ty Johnson or Alan Lazard? And you're like a desperate flex play.
Lazard.
Nice. Okay. I think that's a great way to end the buy or sells unless we have anything else. No, it looks like that's just a correction on the spelling of Lazard. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in to the tailgate where we'll have more start-sit stuff. Any last-minute updates for the Sunday slate Sunday morning. We are DNVR Fantasy. Thanks for tuning in, kids. We'll be back soon.